Banana and Bears Rugby Pod.
Oh, well, as you join us this fine evening, you're all very welcome to Banana and Bears Rugby Pod. Look, I properly introed the show, and I did it right. I didn't make a bollocks of it or start roaring laughing, or although I have been admiring your turban. I'm saying it looks
Yes.
like a turban.
Well, it's called a hair turban.
Oh, is it?
I think it says that on the packet. Yeah, hair turban. Yeah.
Is there a reason for it? Are you are you going to put, that picture of your one with her sleeves rolled up? They had it like she has her,
Oh
she's got
yeah.
the,
Oh yeah. We can do it.
we can do it, or are you just in from training?
Yeah, I'm just in from training.
Yeah, there we go. Fair enough.
Standard.
Standard. How's so can I take a guess? Are you back in La Rochelle?
Back on terra firma. Yeah.
How go on? Like, was it as class a week as even the one or two pictures I saw was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Was it amazing?
Yeah. It was brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, it was mental hard work and everything, but great crack. Sorry, I'm still yawning. I'm wrecked. Do you know when you do like the red eye flight, but I wouldn't mind, but it's not enough time to sleep. Do you know?
Where did you fly? You flew what, Fort Lauderdale or Tampa or where?
Yeah, I went Tampa to Philadelphia and Philadelphia to Paris. So, and it's quicker on the way back as well. So it's only like a 7-hour flight, and by the time you've eaten and all the rest, sure. And I tried to watch Oppenheimer. What a terrible,
What a terrible choice.
decision. I couldn't keep my eyes open, but I couldn't keep it didn't matter what I was watching, I couldn't keep my eyes open anyway. So I was wrecked, but it was brilliant. We lost the final.
Oh, sickener. What was the name of your team again that you were coaching?
The Hawkeyes.
You always pick cool names. Like, do you ever get like the yellow bellies or the flappy arses, or you always get things like the honey badgers?
No, but if there's an opening in the Flappy Arse, sign me up.
Anna is
Flappy Arses
officially
have an opening.
officially looking for an opening with the flappy arses.
Jesus Christ.
What a way to start the podcast.
Yeah, but it was great. Do you know what? I was like, oh my God, like, things would come up and I'd be like, I'm telling Tom about this now. And talk about this in the podcast. This is awful, but America is the most. Now, I won't generalize America because they've got different ways of doing things in all the different states, but Florida was, and when I was in California, the most wasteful country ever. Like, I'm here washing out a little yogurt pot, and like the hotel we were in, and the same thing happened when I was in California. Like, so, but when I was in California, I thought it was just because it was a temporary thing, but this hotel like uses plastic cutlery, cups, glasses, plates straight into the bin after one use.
Yeah.
Bin, not even recycling, bin. It's unbelievable. Like, that's one thing that like I just couldn't get over, and I was putting it in the bin, and like I was talking to other people about it, and people from different states, they don't do the same thing there, but like other people have started to do it in their own homes.
Right.
So they
Conduct themselves a bit better.
No, so they don't have to wash up. They've started to use one-use stuff in their own homes.
You see, this is what like America is lovely. I spent some time there myself, but you know what? In so many ways, it's a pure backward kip. What they're doing, washing plates in this day and age. The machines came out in the 70s, lads, to wash your plates. Like, the washing up as a whole is still a thing in America. Doing the washing up. You're like, Jesus Christ, there's a whole family of you there. You're going to stand around for 3 hours and dry it and put it away. And
they don't use dishwashers.
No, they don't use dishwashers. Now, I stand to be corrected, but I've had a row with Americans about this before, and they were like, yeah, well, it's, a whole part of the evening. I'm like, no, there's a whole part of the evening where you go out into the backyard and poke a ball around to each other or something.
Yeah.
Life, one of the greatest inventions in history, because time is the most important thing, as we know, Anna. One of the greatest inventions in history after the combustion engine was most likely the dishwasher, because it afforded everybody the opportunity to have an extra 2 hours in the evening of not prick arsing around. And they'll never be as clean coming out of the sink. Never. I don't care what you say. They'll never be as cleaned. I'm just shouting this at nobody in particular. I know you agree with me on this.
Yes, but What I wonder is, I didn't realize this is a thing. I haven't been into many American people's homes, so I don't know. But like, is it now that are they just resorting to one use? I thought it was just so they didn't have to use the dishwasher, like, because loading the dishwasher is a pain in the hole anyway.
Era, you'd get over it now. In all fairness, like,
You'd get over it, but you'd still see why people would use a one-off. But like the amount of food ordered anyway.
oh,
But even if they're cooking at home, like breakfast cereal, like just they don't use plates and stuff anymore. Paper
Lord,
plate.
like, yeah, I saw a bit of it, but hopefully. Oh, yeah, it is apparently different in different states the way they have different laws on it. But you see, this is what happens when you have too much space. You see, they've got some poor old part of their state that is just a minefield full of shite. And so long as it stays going there, sure, look, if I can't see it, I can't worry about it. Can't see it from my
Oh,
house, as the fella says. And
it
that's what
gives
it is.
me NIMBY. Did you learn about NIMBY in school?
Who's NIMBY?
Not in my backyard. I remember learning about this concept called NIMBY. I thought it was the most bizarre thing ever. It was like everybody wants to, you know, recycle, or everyone wants to like use waste, or everyone wants to, but not in my backyard. NIMBY. I remember learning about it in geography, and I was like, this is so weird. How could you, like, I just don't understand how you could turn such a blind eye to something like this. Like, not in my backyard. Yes, I'd love to, throw everything in the bin, but I don't want it in my backyard, so put it in someone else's backyard.
Well,
I just
look,
the
we could
most
get
bizarre concept ever.
environmentally and all the rest of it, but that's the reason why China is so
Anxiety.
super wealthy, is because countries like Ireland and Germany and whatnot keep themselves looking good and pristine when they turn up to the UN going, look how many points we didn't gain with our disposal this year. And you're like, yeah, you sold it all to China and they're happy to take the penalty points because you're selling them enough to keep them over the line. And they're just
Yeah.
dumping it in the Shishingping district where some poor old devil has to rifles through it maybe on a daily basis.
I know this is awful, and this is almost like the same as saying NIMBY, but like I can't talk about it. It gives me so much anxiety.
Mm. Oh, yeah,
Climate anxiety. No, I
yeah.
can't deal, can't cope. But come here, what day did I talk to you last? I
Monday
think
or
it was the
Tuesday
Tuesday.
last week. Yeah, Monday or
I think
Tuesday
I
last
spoke
week.
to you when I was with your man in the bar.
Yeah, yeah, you were drinking blackcurrant or blackberry margaritas.
That's right.
Oh, I got,
That's
I,
right.
got- I got you something, but it's metaphorical. I have to say it before I forget it. It's
Go
metaphorical
on.
because I can't give it to you right now. Because
Okay.
you're there. It's can you see it?
Caramel nibbles, chocolate egg,
Yeah,
Easter egg.
yeah, proper Easter
Un-
egg. And
Unbelievable.
the caramel
Unreal.
nibbles
I didn't
are
get any.
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. At the cinema, dumped into the popcorn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or even just take a swig of tea, but want them in your mouth. Unreal, unreal.
Oh.
Don't worry, it's got a best before date for like 2 years' time. I'll give it to you when you come home. Oh,
Okay.
we got you.
Great. I can't wait.
It's more of a sentiment than anything else because obviously you're in France, so I can't give it to you this minute because I guess you didn't get to celebrate Easter properly. You were probably in transit, were you?
I didn't even know it was Easter.
Oh
I
my
was so
God,
hungover. I was
how
so hungover.
unchristian of you!
Yes, I know.
Although
I'm such a,
you did
otherwise
you
such a
did
staunch
die and you've
Christian.
risen again, so I suppose in a way you had a rebirth, and now you are here
Yes,
in the heavenly hallows of the rugby pod that is Banana and Bears. We've almost talked no rugby at all, but you're back healthy. How was training this evening? Were you sweating beer out through you?
I was wrecked.
For the audio listeners,
I was wrecked.
that's Anna very politely but very loudly, almost like, do you know those ignorant Brazilian lads that yawn? I don't know if you see them, but I see them all the time here. They seem to yawn very loudly. The Brazilian lads around. It seems to be a tradition in Brazil where they go, ah, 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 ah. Like, what? The world doesn't need to
Yeah,
know. You're trying to eat the world. Why are you trying to eat the world? Stop that.
trying to let everyone know that Ireland's so boring.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where is the samba? Is really what
Do you
they're
know where it
saying.
is? It's at the other end of Dublin
In
Airport.
Cork.
If you have an issue, go on. No, back to work. Oh God
Excuse
Almighty!
me.
The woman is literally only hanging on by her fingernails through this podcast, yawning and
Yeah,
sneezing.
I know, I know. But no, grand. Yeah, I'm back and I'm hopefully starting to feel a bit normal. If I get a good night's sleep now tonight, I'll be fucking ready to hit the ground running tomorrow. Hit the ground running tomorrow morning. But the weather's shite here.
It is shite here. It's shite everywhere. I talked to a lad. He just came back from Lisbon. It was like 2 foot of water flowing down the street in Lisbon, cars and everything
I
flying.
saw the cars being swept away in
Yeah,
Lisbon.
yeah. And he was on holidays
Jesus.
there.
You should have gone to Clearwater Beach, kid.
Do you know what? He'd a right to go to Ennis. That's where he wouldn't have gotten washed down the street in Ennis. He would have had a good weekend for himself. But yeah, it was horrific by all accounts. But it's what can you do but only laugh at that stage and just go, yeah, sure, we're here now. We may as well.
I know. Lisbon's class fucking port, going
I
into all the little port
I did
bars.
a gig there years ago, and it was very hard to even get to the gig because there were so many little lovely pubs, little bars that were nearly out on the street. They were
Mm.
down there just throwing an arm around you, going, "Come in here." And I would never drink before a gig, but I ended up having like 3 beers before. I was like, this place is too tempting altogether. This is
I
too tempting.
know. Yeah.
Um, Game changer for your sleep. Changed it during the week, but and this is not a shout out to particular, but shout out to Woolo, who are based in Galway.
Hmm.
A a wool duvet, a wool duvet, woolen cotton duvet. My
Right.
God, it's exactly the temperature you need it to be on all the time. It never gets too hot or it never gets too cold. It's a bit discombobulating because it's so thin. When you lie it on yourself, you're like, there's no way this is oh, wait a minute. My body's the
I,
perfect temperature in seconds.
I was going to ask you, was it heavy?
No, it's like
Because,
we're talking an inch and a half thick. That's it.
but I like, I sometimes I can't sleep too. You know, when it starts to get hot and I use a lighter blanket, I can't really sleep if I have something light. I need something heavy.
I get you, but within 3 minutes of your body temperature being absolutely 100% perfect. My God. Yeah,
Mm.
very interesting. Very interesting. We had a tremendous
Mm.
weekend at the Hale Comedy Club. We had the all
Oh,
powerful Garrod Farley and Eddie McQueen. It might be the biggest guffaw fest yet. It was, I mean, people were like, there was people having to leave the room, like for a finish. We had 2 shows, and there was people actually going, I need to step out. This room is beautifully air conditioned, but I cannot take any more of this. It was actually painful for people. One guy,
oh my
he actually has a
God.
jaw condition. Kieran and oh God, they're a band. I can't remember. They're brilliant anyway. Um, they were great crack. They
Foster
sat
and Kieran.
Kieran. Oh God, Kieran and Sinead and Kieran. They're a duo and they're great crack. And he has a jaw condition, ironically, and he's a singer. But he actually thought he was going to have to be hospitalized for what was happening to his face. That's the kind of night it was. It was just close the doors. There's going to be some wild stuff said. 18 went up, and my God Almighty, like just blew like they were lucky there was a roof for Garrod to go onto afterwards. It was mother of God,
Unbelievable.
unbelievable night. Like and I do love gigging abroad and stuff, but there's something about Irish audiences that are in an area where there isn't 75 different things going on. Not saying desperation causes it, but what I found was at least 9 different people queued up as I'm finishing up and winding up cables and stuff and shook my hand saying, thank you. Thank you for. I'm like, oh, thank you. You bought a ticket. They're like, no, you don't get it. We don't have, we've not, do you know what I mean? Only local old bands and stuff. And I didn't want to, but it was very, very cool. Very cool night. A night that I actually thought to myself, if Caplice was here now, I'd say, yeah, it would have been on your, yeah, but there'll be plenty more to go to. Anyway, and that was
You'll have
that.
to send me the calendar. What's coming up in the calendar?
Last Saturday of every month for everybody who needs to know. Last Saturday of every month. And
Fuck. I'm home for the last Saturday of the month, but it's the last day of Six Nations, so I reckon I'll be above in Belfast.
oh yes, yeah. Balix.
Mm.
I won't lie,
But
if it doesn't work out in Belfast, I don't know, the Orange Order or something take up the area and you can't make it up there. The Hill is a pretty good sports bar, I'll tell you that.
okay.
It goes it's brilliant.
Oh, sure, I was in there.
Yeah, of course, you were there. Yeah, so
We did our live Christmas pod.
where did you yes. Still to this day, the greatest gift I've ever gotten. Was it a poo bag you gave it to me in? You gave me
The
the squashies
kit bag.
and the banana.
Oh yeah. Squash the banana and a can of lilt.
Where did you watch
Oh no,
where
sorry, it was pineapple Fanta.
Pineapple
Sorry. Go
Fanta?
on.
Yes, yes. Where did you watch the rugby? So
I followed the updates on my phone because I just could not get like a live, like even with boobs on the side, dodgy stream. But
no
I watched it back
Alien Willies,
afterwards.
no.
No, I watched it back afterwards. So I watched it when I was on the train. And I watched it when I was on the RER and then the TGV. First half in the RER and second half in the TGV.
What now? No, what now? Because that sounds like a fellow with a
The,
really strong Tipperary accent. The way you said
the
that,
RER.
I was
Yeah,
over the area there the other day, and before I knew it, I was on the RG, and the Tidgy was like, it was giving me an awful dose actually, and I think I've gout now as a result of it. What? So one is it
no,
put?
the RER is the train, the kind of regional train around Paris, the
Right.
RER. That's the one that you have to get out to the airport. And then the TGV, you know.
Oh yes, I know the TGV. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I forget that there's regional airports or regional trains that actually go to airports because heaven forbid we'd have a single one of them in Ireland. Yeah.
Now, where's the train?
Where's the? Oh my god.
Your man landed into Dublin Airport.
Oh my god, the sadness of that and the reality of it. We watched. I
Oh, you
went over.
see that?
Yeah, go
Oh,
on.
sorry,
Sorry.
go on, go on.
No, 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 no.
Oh
I
no,
want to.
all I was saying was that we'd be giving out about, no train in Dublin Airport. Just fuck all trains and buses and everything around Florida. Like I
Oh, disaster.
waited about 2 hours to get a bus because I was just determined not to be giving the Uber drivers any more money. And I waited about 2 hours and it took like all day to use like two buses.
If you're,
Anyway,
yeah, if you're not driving yourself, you may as well go in, feed yourself to the alligators. They just don't believe in. Like, there's no. I remember in Fort Lauderdale going looking for a bus, and sure they looked at me like I was
be
what?
laughing at you.
I
Yeah.
walked into a Subway sandwich shop and I went, "Where's the next bus? Or where do I get the bus from?" They were like, "What?" And first of all, the accent was too much, and then when we got bus across the line there after about 2 minutes, oh Lord, I don't know. I said something.
What year was that? Like there weren't Ubers then. Were you getting taxis
Yeah,
everywhere?
taxis. Yeah, yeah.
Fucks.
Oh,
Fuck that.
and you can't go
Jesus.
walking in it because you'd be melted. We um
Jeez.
we watched the
What?
match. I brought Fiona over to the grandparents to watch the match. Um, and I was brilliant. It was Dad had it like if there's sports on, he'll be what, but he was like he had a pause. No, that's a great thing because we don't have Sky, we have Netflix and Amazon and stuff like that. But being able to pause live sport if you're waiting to make a cup of tea or something like that, it's fucking glorious for the
Mm,
ads. It's glorious for the
yeah,
ads. Do you know?
yeah.
Um, and we did, and we got yeah. Fiona of course follows everything I do because he not fully sure he's starting rugby tots the week after next actually, but he's it's just
Mayhem.
oh mate, I can't wait to see it. The bananas, like I can only imagine watching him with his friends. I can only imagine the pure bananas because they did a bit of a kind of a rugby thing before, but this is the rugby tots company. They go around the country or whatever these
Yes, yes,
classes.
I know it. Yeah, yeah. Hilarious.
Hilarious, just little tiny people running around. Sure, look it, but it was. I didn't realize I was going to be shouting so much. Um, but
Oh
I
yeah.
texted you afterwards. I couldn't. I walked out of the house. I was absolutely furious, and I shouldn't have been so furious, but I was gone quite impassioned. Um,
No,
because
sure, of course.
they gave us what I asked. This was the thing. They gave me what I asked for. They gave me venom and they gave me fight and dog
Mm.
and heart. But they all like. Oh, I wasn't so angry at them. I was angry at the system because I could see from my very uneducated eye, I could see that another week or two of actually couple of weeks of training would have just finished off some glorious moves. Like the amount of drop balls at the last minute, and just
I
because
know.
the confidence wasn't there, the hands were out, but the confidence wasn't there for that ball to stick. And that's all it is. It's confidence. It's catch pass. It's just confidence in the moment because they put together unbelief and like the absolute like the way some of them were playing. Like I mean, they were playing like people possessed at times. They take the ball on like Sam Manahan has some engine on her. My God Almighty, like just
Yeah.
smashing people left, right, and center. And then I think Bevan Parsons, I think knocked out one of her props. I think. Like,
Oh,
but
yeah.
but there was just moments where you're like, oh my God. And it became, because it came down to such a nail biter at the end, you're like, we could win this. We could
Mm,
we could fucking win this. Let's go and
mm.
fucking win it. And we're talking at the 78th minute, they're still playing, which I was loving, but I get quite emotional when it comes to sport. And I'm like, and who am I to be shouting at these people? But it was more, I think I was shouting at the world, kind of going,
Of course, to be shouting. Should be shouting at the men's team. Same.
I know, but you know what? I can see it. There's there's a ton of hot. Again, this a Rocky reference that you won't get at all. But there's a ton of hot. But you need to fucking train. And that was the thing. They don't have the time on the, you know what I mean? They don't have the time and confidence in the pocket like part like this.
It, it,
It just needed
the,
hands
the,
one time out to the wing, and I don't know.
the
Was it?
handling errors were frustrating because we were discussing this on my other podcast, and it
Oh, it's
was
grand. It's
it
grand.
was you know 10 podcasts to go
I
away.
know. I know. I know. I know. I know.
It was like fucking rugby tots at some stage itself with the fucking handling errors. So like it's weird because a lot of those girls are full time now. So it's not that there's a lot of those players that are getting more training than they've ever done. So
Right.
that's not it. That can't be it. I think they were trying to force it because they could feel that they could maybe win,
Oh, their
which
tails were
is
up at that point. Yeah, yeah.
not being on the cards. But then they were just like, it was one knock on from Aoife Dalton, and you could just tell her head was already looking towards what was the next job, and she was just like, fuck, like she hasn't dropped a ball like that, like, not since she started playing for Ireland. Like she doesn't make errors like that. And same with Bevan, same with fucking Sam Darrow. There was a few like knock-ons that were so uncharacteristic. It was like they were just trying to chase the game because they knew that they could win, when actually winning seemed so unlikely given where Italy are at and where Ireland are at, etc. So I think they just felt the pressure of that. But I don't know. I still feel like their attack was a little bit lateral. I'd love to see a bit more of a threat. Like they're relying a lot on individual
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
efforts,
yeah.
like,
It's almost
which
rugby league in
is,
its approach. It's like, okay,
yeah, yeah,
let's
that's what
just
it looks like.
shift it left, shift it right. But it's the easiest thing in the world to defend. I was actually thinking of you at this point because you've described this on a How to Rugby, and it was that you were
Mm,
describing how she all day long you'll tackle that, like, because you're like, well, you're not even giving me a picture that you're going to cut inside or maybe dummy. You're definitely
yeah.
passing it to the person beside you because your head is turned 3 seconds before you fucking swing your hands. And I'm like, girls,
Mm.
just and like that, the individuals that would step up would make yards then. So I suppose you can kind of go, okay,
Exactly.
maybe they're starting from the
Exactly.
ground
So
up, like,
exactly. So it's a hard place to be now because every good thing we need to take and we need to keep, but then you have to be critical on the other things then as well. You can't be like, oh, fair play, like
yeah.
this is the level we're at. We just have to be critical. Jesus, they'll be critical on themselves,
Oh
like,
God, yeah.
um, but like it's so weird. Like they dropped Tricky, Adele McMahon, like
Yeah.
who's the other co-captain. She was dropped from the squad completely. Like I just can't can fathom that. I just don't understand that at all.
Yeah,
Like,
if anything, you needed
um,
somebody with experience in those dying minutes to go, all right, cool heads here now.
a
Cool heads
hundred
here now.
percent. Same with Hannah O'Connor, who played really well the week before. And like nothing against the girls that come in, but the girls that are coming in are very young and very raw. Like they've got time. Why are you playing them against Italy? Now, I don't want to be like fucking, I want to stay positive and I want to have faith in this new management and stuff. So I'm waiting to kind of really just understand what it is. Why would you take people like that out of the squad? I just don't understand it. So I'm struggling with that a small bit. I'm a bit frustrated with that. Like I was saying, I was frustrated even before the game started because I was like, hang on, what's going on here? Like this is reminiscent of the shite that's been going on before. So it's a hard place to be because yes, like I felt like really good after the France game last week, even though it wasn't perfect and even though we didn't get to see a lot of their attack. So we got to see more of the attack this week. It's obvious that they've been putting much more time into their defense. and their defense is very good at times, but it's also not so fucking like they're doing well to stay on their feet and keeping a full line of defense. But if you have a full line of defense, like get up in their fucking faces. They were just moving laterally. But again, that's leadership.
Yeah.
You know, like Tricky now, like fucking leading up the line of defense, like even you know, they just missed that a small bit. So I don't know why you'd take that experience out of the squad. Like, it
I
used
know.
to be.
I saw it. I saw it as like not a disrespect to Italy or whatever, but it was. I saw it nearly like how the men's would do it, say against Italy. I'll go, okay, we'll start Craig Casey. You know that kind of thing. But I was going, you're not in that position. You're not in that position. We need to win
Yeah,
this fucking game. Like, there's no two ways about it. Whatever it takes, we need to
100%.
win this fucking game. Like,
You could actually, you could start your Craig Casey's, to use an example of him as something else. You could start him in any other game. You
yeah,
can start those players in any other game. This was the game, the biggest opportunity to win. Look at how Wales are playing and look at how Scotland are playing. Forget England. And kind of forget France. Like you could, I was thinking last week when there was a lot of changes made at halftime, I was like, you know what? France is a game where you can kind of give everyone a run, because you're not looking for the win in France. Like, you're not going to be looking for a fucking win in Twickenham. This was the biggest game to try and win, and I just don't understand like the fucking selections. And again, it's nothing against the girls that come in, like Enya Breen. Jesus fucking hell, it's so good to have her back. But it was her
yeah.
first game back in almost a year. Give her time off the bench. Like, she's not going to be at the level that she was before she got injured last year. Like, so give her time. And Aoife Dalton had been such a fucking shining bright light the week before. Like, let her continue with that momentum. Like, that's my biggest headache, of all the things. Yes, it was a bit frustrating to watch, and the handling errors, and the kind of lack of this and that in attack and da-da-da and defense even. My biggest fucking hang up is like, what was with selection? Because that's
Yeah.
been the downfall of us before, like fucking weird management dynamic where they make all these massive changes and get rid of all the experience. That's what's scaring me, to be honest.
I wonder.
So
I started
let's see.
thinking when before the match, because there had been so many big changes made with no obvious, like, it'd be one thing if they took a hiding of 100-0 or something, but they didn't, against France. It was like, no, I think this, and what popped into my head, and has been of late, what would Razzie Erasmus do? Because that motherfucker doesn't care. He will go after the point, like he doesn't care about image, so he wouldn't
Yeah.
care about taking 100 points against France or anybody else. He would absolutely load everything into that Italy match. Like, do you know, he
Yeah.
would, like, everything would go into that match, because that match meant so much more, not just on a moral basis. It's the one victory that would get him into the World Cup. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the
Mm-hmm.
fuck? Like, that's the match. That's the
Jesus.
match.
I didn't even reference that. I was saying like this, I was thinking more of, it was a win. It could have been a win just to get a win. But you're right.
No, it was the most important match of most of their careers. It's to get into
It
the
could
fucking
have
World Cup.
could have been it could have been, well, it's not the last chance. That's the only thing.
No, it's
That's the
not the
only thing that
last chance. But by Jesus
you
Christ,
can go on.
I would.
They could have fucking tied up yeah.
Like, like a mathematician would work that. Like, if you went to the bookies would be the best place to go before the Six Nations. Go, okay, who do we go after the hardest?
Mm.
They go, well,
Jesus.
we actually have the AI here that can create the stats for you. Here you go. You need to give everything you got against Italy. Try and actually kill one of their players if you can, because you need to beat them. That's it. You need to beat them. Whatever you want to do in the other games, class. But you got to beat Italy. That's it. That's your number. That is your best shot statistically, and there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. So I was surprised. Kudos. Like, they've gotten a few things. Like, they locked out their scrum pretty nice. There was I was going, okay, we need to stop. I need to stop being a whinging fucking William here now in the corner of the sitting room, like, and
Mm.
things like that. Their defense, as you said, yeah, it's great. It's like they're trying to go, okay, look, this we'll just build one thing at a time as best we can,
Yeah,
and
which
it's
is actually kind of all you can do.
yeah, it's all you can do. But they were there in their defense, as you said, get up in their faces. I felt there was nearly more fitness in the Irish team, like in the last 10 minutes.
Mm,
They were there to
mm,
be gotten. They were there to be gotten at and made a net. Like they could have. Like there was a few of the girls individually fucking ragdolled. I'm like, yeah, you do every single phase. You ragdoll somebody to the point that they don't want to play rugby anymore. Like you saw how
mm.
was it Corrigan? Um, she went for the intercept. You're like, motherfucker, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because she came up like a rocket and said, "Fuck it, I'm off." Do you know?
I
Like
know. She's right. Yeah,
there was
it's great to see.
it was all out. Fucky, I'm going for it. And that was an individual taking the moment by the scruff of the neck and going, it was like, I've had enough of this shit. Let's get up and
Mm.
get after
Yeah,
it. And it was
yeah.
that gave me such a buzz because it was like, yes, that's the,
You know, only her
you,
second cap.
do you know, so it was, is it only your second cap?
Yeah,
Fucking hell.
yeah, yeah.
What do you,
Yeah,
you
it's her
know,
first cap last week against France.
um, it was, there was like, as you said, moments of individual, but there was, I guess it's fine for us to say it and they'll know it as well as we do. Like that in the moment, I suppose when they had slicker hands, the Italians did have slicker hands, and that can maybe where the XV was it XV3 that would it can fuck you up like because I mean you're not seeing those hands on a weekly basis ahead of you, so you're like
Mhm.
these pictures are fucking different. Like Jesus Christ, how are we gonna fan across for this? Like how do we
Yeah.
if somebody breaks the line, does a Bundy Aki on it, all well and good if you can cut the person in half, but if they've got the ball away, now you've created it, So that there was probably that
Yeah.
level of confidence not there either. But
Mm-mm.
on a po-
Yeah.
on a positive, um, O'Brien she wasn't in last week. Sure, she wasn't at number 10.
No, Nicole Fowley started and Dan O'Brien came in at half time.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
So Dana started then this week, yeah.
She's got a good left boot on her. Holy shit!
Mm.
Like a
She
strong,
had some great picks. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, some strong touch finders for the corner and stuff like that. Ballsy stuff to go. Fucking hell! Another person would have pulled it back 10 meters. Like
She's gas as well. It looks like nothing ever phases her. She looks
no,
like she's been there for a long time, do you know, and which I like, yeah, it's great to see. I don't know how vocal and organized she is kind of 2 or 3 phases in advance, because that's what I felt like was happening a lot of the time. Then they have a really nice launch play, and then after the first ruck, they've nothing organized, so
no.
they're just passing and tackle, pass, tackle, pass, tackle. Do you know, that's so, but that's experience for her as well. Do you know, that'll come like, um, especially fucking Italy's defence is good. They were up in our faces. They knew, they could see that Ireland takes a little bit more time on the ball between the catch and pass, and they
Mm.
just shot up every time and cut them off from the outside. So we couldn't fucking create anything in attack anyway, thanks to Italy's good defence. Like, so I also think Italy made a lot of mistakes. Like, there was so many turning moments where you're like, fuck, um, okay, we'll get in the front foot here now, and then we like mistouch, or
Yeah,
fucking, as soon as we scored a try, first thing we knocked it on from the
yeah.
kickoff,
I
like,
know.
little things like that just like the momentum was like, oh Jesus. And then like, you have a record crowd at the RDS, and like, yes, it was exciting and it's great to have more and more people coming out all the time. Actually, some fella, I was chatting to some fella in the Hard Rock Cafe on Saturday night after we'd finished. One of the other coaches, he's Kiwi fella, but he lives in Canada. And he was saying, like, we're just going on about women's sport and that. And he was like, yeah, but women don't support women's sports. Like, that's what annoys me. Da, da, da. And I'm like, yeah, well, why would they? Like, it's a slow process. Like, you can't just expect all these women to all of a sudden start turning up to sport when sport has always belonged to men,
Yeah.
and has only been like handfuls of women that would come along, but those handfuls of women were like the exception. It's starting to change, but you can't just sit there and be like, oh, this is shit, women don't. No, you have to fucking wait. And I was like, see that beer there, see all the bubbles like floating to the top, that's one by one women starting to come along to support it. So don't be like, oh, this is it, this is the way it is. No, like, women's sport exists because of the ones that have gone to play,
Well,
like the people who are coming along.
we must be
You,
doing our bit anyway because a woman that I know, she's involved with Kilfeacle, I think, but her nieces have. I think Gary Owen has joined at under 16 or under 17, under 18 level. They've joined with another club and they've just started playing rugby. And because of the podcast, they couldn't get to Dublin, as we told them, but they've gone down to the Wales
Cork.
match. But they're going, now she'd be an avid Ireland supporter going to matches and stuff. But she says she's going with a completely different attitude in that
Mm.
it's almost like supporting a family member. You're getting in at the indie level, like I talked about before. Get in at the indie level before it gets popular. Like, sure, I was going to these back in the day. They're going with a kind of let's have a right good cheer and a right good crack. Like, there isn't as much pressure on the audience because you're like, well,
Yeah,
these are our girls. Let's support them. Eventually, if more of us and more of us, and let's be honest, numbers mean people through the turnstiles. Turnstiles mean cashola. Cashola puts into sports, like it or love it. But that's how sport gets ahead. That's how women's sport will get ahead. And more, it's just interest alone won't just do it. The interest plus cash, as a result of the
yeah,
interest, will bring it on. But they're
yeah,
going with a kind of a great attitude. They're going with a let's go and have a right bit of crack, and not to expect the same type of endorphins that you'd get from the men's, we'll say, because the men's are up at number
yeah,
one, number two in the world. You're going now to go,
yeah,
no, this is our team and we fucking support you regardless. And we're going to go for a
yeah,
different type of endorphin, which was a
yeah,
very cool
yeah,
thing to
yeah.
hear. And it was because you'd said, get out to the fucking game, get a couple of drinks into you, have the crack.
Good. Good. Well, I'm fucking delighted.
And
Great. Go well done.
I think it
Whatever
was,
that was.
what was it, 30 quid a ticket, I think? For God's
Was
sake.
it?
Yeah, 30 quid a ticket. Get yourselves down for the Wales
That's
match.
expensive.
Yeah, I think they thought it was pretty good. They were pretty happy for an international. They were like, we don't care
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
normally play easily three times that for up in the Aviva for the men's. Like, so you're
I
still
know
getting
you would.
support.
Yeah, I know
You're
it's
still
just
getting
cheap in
support Ireland.
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it is like giving money. I actually I was I telling you this? It probably wasn't because there's lots to talk about. When I was in Le Mans, um, I met a friend of mine. So a girl, Lene Corson, she played for France for years. She was doing commentary for the game, and I met her beforehand and just outside the stadium, and she was like, "Oh, come with me," and I went in with her to collect her media badge. And then when we were walking out, she was like, "Mom, have a look at the pitch." I was like, "I don't have a badge." She was like, "Ah, fuck's grand, you're with me." Went out onto the pitch, standing on the pitch. I had no media badge or anything. I met
Bless.
Jade Conkle, my old Harlequins teammate as well, who was also doing comms. And she's Scottish, but standing out in the pitch, and I was like, "Great, I'm in the stadium now." And I was like, "Oh, how do I get into the stand?" I felt really like I was like, "You know what? I should actually just. I don't mind buying my tickets, so I to support like women's rugby. So I went back out and bought my ticket and came back in the turnstile like a
That
fool.
look, that is very noble of you. In all fairness, like a lot of people go,
You
hey, can I
know,
just jump the old fence there and I'll tip up along. Be grand.
you
Say not,
know.
say
I
nothing.
was, I was inside, like went back out to buy my ticket like a fool, and fucking. I didn't think it was such a good idea when my Revolut was beeping at me later saying your balance is low. I was like, ah, fuck it. But do you see that Sam Monaghan, speaking of Jade Conkle has made the most, she has the record for the most carries in a Six Nations women's game at 32, and Sam Monaghan carried 30 times at the weekend.
Jesus.
So
Yeah, I believe it. Like the amount of times, like it was
she's made,
ridiculous.
she's no, she didn't play last week, and she's now number two in the number of carries this Six Nations.
Total.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that correct? So she was fucking on the ball. Fair play to her because
Yeah, she was on
Jesus,
for it.
yeah, she's coming on. Oh, but and then do you see Aoife Wafer? She
Yeah,
fucking played brilliant.
yeah, class player. That's a
Yeah,
class player. Was she number
she just
seven?
doesn't give a
She was,
fuck.
yeah, she was
Number
seven,
seven.
wasn't she?
She was seven, but she was playing at eight in
That
attack.
was, yeah, I was
That's what
kind of,
she did.
that's what threw me. I was like, where's she gone? Where's she gone? And it, yeah, obviously she was
Yeah.
gone to eight.
Yeah.
Possibly one of the best names in rugby. I mean, as you just reminded me there, Jade Conkle. Good name, good name.
Jake
But
Conker. Yeah.
Molly Scuffle, is it McCabe?
I think
That's some
yeah.
name. That is Molly Scuffle. Like that's Molly Scuffle McCabe. That's some name. That's that's
Scuffle McCabe. Great
that's a
name.
folk band. Like that's a folk band. Molly Scuffle and McCabe. Like if you heard it.
True. Great name. Yeah.
Um I texted you that I was furious, and I have to give you. You said you'd have to give me the rundown. It was based on that because I'm just greedy. I just wanted more. That's all it was. It was like, fuck.
Mm,
I wasn't happy with
I know.
with just grit. It was like, fuck. Like that
And the
1-1 that.
last turnover. Oh.
Oh God. But it was that pass. It was out the backs, and like they actually had numbers. Parsons was by herself, and it gave a
Mhm.
skip pass out to her, and she wasn't expecting it, I'm guessing. And it could have just gone hands, but instead,
Yep.
skip pass out to Parsons, overcomplicating it, which is fair enough. She wanted to fucking get it out there and give her as much time as she could, and Parsons drops it. I'm like, ah, Jesus
Was the
Christ.
wind fucking bad or something? Because there was so many handling errors like that.
I don't
Like
know.
us tonight at training. It was like actually rugby tots at training us tonight, and like they were just trying to like flogging a dead horse, and the ball was going everywhere. I was like, lads, will you just let us go home? Like it's not going to get better. But the wind was really bad, and I was thinking, I was like, I wonder was the wind bad for the game on Sunday or something? Because I don't know, so many handling errors.
I don't. Yeah, they didn't make any mention of it. So
Yeah, they would have. I think they would have.
they would have
I don't
like
know.
yeah. I mean, Italy had a forward pass. I mean, they traveled forward by. But do you know what was infuriating? There was. Oh yeah, yes, I was absolutely. Now I wouldn't mind you going back and having a look at it on YouTube for your opinion, but I was fucking vehement. Like they didn't even go for a look at it. It was
Mm.
it was an Italian try. It was maybe their last try, I think it was, and I was shouting for crossing. The two centers.
The crossing, yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking okay. It did happen, and even the fucking commentators were going, "Yeah, sure, it's a try. As the try is happening." I'm like, how the fuck is nobody mentioning
I
that?
was
What looked
I was
very
thinking
much
that
like
as
crossing.
well because what the commentators were saying is that Eve Higgins like slowed down and she didn't push the outside Katie Corrigan
Yeah,
and kind of be blaming Katie Corrigan's naiveness a little bit, which you would be as a young player, but actually the fucking crossing is what slowed her down.
yeah.
I now it's funny, like the rules around crossing are a bit funny because you need to have been kind of stopped from making a tackle. I wonder if Eve Higgins like literally ran straight into the girl who was obstructing,
There was
who actually put her
no
hands like
there was no
this.
collision. There was no collision. So
No, no collision. But so if she did that, I wonder would it have highlighted it? But then it's a huge risk. Then because you definitely let them in for a try then, and you leave Kate Carrigan out there on her own. But I thought it was crossing. Yeah, I thought it was
I
crossing.
genuinely well, I mean, priced above is worth going over to the ref and going, sorry, ref. Price, can we have a look at that? Surely you saw some sort of jiggery pokery in the center there. Come on. Like how you're not running up to the ref, go, please, that one. You gotta look at that one. It's crucial, please. Can you have him have a quick look at that? Because if it was absolutely not crossing and I got it wrong and we got it wrong and we're looking, they'd see it in 2 seconds. You know, no, try stands, go on you go. Fair enough. But nobody. What was killing me was not even the commentators who were supposed to know about rugby. They're looking down on this fucking thing and didn't once go. They saw 5 replays of the thing and nobody went, hang on one sec. What's she doing stepping in
Mm,
there? What's she doing stepping in there? Because the player gets to run around the back of her for the pass out to the fucking wing. I
mm.
mean, it wasn't the worst offense of a crossing that I've ever seen, but with such a critical thing hanging in the balance, it's not like they were
You should
making
have looked at it.
a
Yeah,
look. It was
should have
the
looked at
next
it.
pass was a try. You know what I mean? So they're like, Jesus Christ, we're due a look anyway, at the very least. Give it a look.
Mm.
But no, nobody
Yeah,
did. So I was kind of spitting feathers over that, but it was
yeah.
it got my blood boiling, and that's what rugby is supposed to be doing. So
Mm.
I
Yeah.
I can tell people get if you're still on the fence and you're like, I'm only it's I don't get you gotta get after it. It's as soon as you see that green, you're like, that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
you're in straight away.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
um
Um.
so who do we have next? I just have done nothing but I've rewatched highlights of the of the Ireland match. I didn't as well as watching the actual full match. I didn't
Oh
pay
yeah.
attention to anything else
We
that went on.
so England had a record crowd outside of Twickenham that almost 20,000 people down Ashton Gate, and they beat hang on, Wales quite handy. even though Wales got a nice try from Ciara Bevan, but they racked up their tries. And Wales are kind of good in the first half, but they didn't play their best. But England were pretty happy, like just running in their tries. Scotland were started really well against France, and they pushed France, but France came back and won 15-5, I think was the final score. But I'd say, Jesus, if things continue the way they are, Scotland are going to be beating France like soon enough, because they've pushed them a good few times now. And Scotland came last 2 years ago. That's the one thing we have to remember. Like, Scotland came last 2 years ago. You know, they can.
That's
It's the end of
there's a bit of
their winning
inspiration in
streak.
that, in at least.
Yeah. There is. So, they're in a very good place. They'll be looking forward to playing Ireland. But we've Wales next. We've Wales at home, so that game is in Cork, and
Yeah.
then we've England away in Twickenham, which is fucking huge. Like, everyone and her mother is going to that. So I can't, because we've a fucking match the same day here. And the last game is Scotland in Belfast, just like 2 years ago. Oh no, 2 years ago? Yeah, it would have been 2
Yeah.
years ago when Scotland came last. So Wales next at home. And I think Wales will be fucking looking forward to coming to Ireland, to be honest, because they haven't kind of got into like into second gear yet. Which they'll be frustrated with, because they've been playing well, and they were playing in WXV1, and they're tough fucking hell. They're so hard to play against. They're so physical. Like,
But they say that
they
about
don't give
all
a
Welsh
fuck.
teams, apparently, good, bad, or indifferent. They hurt, like they come after you, like they are hard bastards. Like,
And
so
your shorts always have makeup on the side of them after you played Wales.
that's hilarious. Yeah, is that the men's as well? Because
Could be, yeah,
by
could
all
be.
accounts, fake
You
tan
know, but
is
the girls
popular
definitely.
in the Welsh whatchamacallit. Just to keep more Welsh news. So he got signed for a 3-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. Reeves
I
Reeves
have a
Zammit.
question about this.
Yeah,
If you okay, so maybe it's not like the draft, because usually isn't it like the weakest players go to the strongest teams and vice versa?
yeah.
Or
It
is that
must be.
basketball? Does this
No,
happen in
no.
football as well?
It's the very same in football, but it must be a different kettle of fish, given that he's an unknown quantity and he came up through a different kind of a mini academy. Like, he could be what they were mostly
This
likely
is a
look.
mid-season thing, really, is it?
No, they're starting up again soon enough, because the Super Bowl was just on a couple of weeks back. So
Right, yeah.
I think
But
the
I
idea.
was thinking, is everyone like, oh, signs for Kansas City Chiefs? Like, woo, what a signing! As in, like, it's as if he signed for, someone really quality. But I was like, doesn't that mean that he's really shit
I don't know.
if
I
he
don't think.
signed for such a strong team?
I don't know. I think they've signed up a couple of people, and they signed back a guy that had left him as well. Unless there's a pre-draft thing where you can make a deal yourself, like I'm not fully sure. I don't think it's your whole team that you have to rejig as a result of the using this draft or whatever. I think it's probably only a couple of players or
Mm.
whatever. But whatever has transpired, he's got a 3-year actual proper deal, not an academy deal, not a fucking hang around there and carry a few balls for yourself for a year and we'll see how you get on. He's actually he's got to play some fucking football. So he's got a 3-year deal
Mm.
on God knows how much money, but he's probably gone for the 3 years. He'll just come back from the World Cup for Wales for the next one. But I didn't
Yeah.
realize, because I was like, "Oh, how well can he be doing? Like, because his 40-yard, what is it, whatever his thing was at the combine, the 4:44. They were like, well, lads have beaten it. They're like, but he hit 24 miles an hour last year for Gloucester. 24 fucking miles an hour. Mother of Jesus. Now, it was without pads, and the fastest in the NFL was 22 miles an hour last year. That's some clipping running at 24 miles an hour.
Mm. With pads, Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, just only interest. I said it was kind of a weird news that came out. I was like, well, it's worth saying, because it'll be, I guess, it won't be bad for rugby, drawing more to eyes to rugby, because, well, the World Cup is going there in 7 years' time, so you don't want to die on the soul with half empty stadiums, like. But
It's gonna be hilarious. Like,
actually,
this was the other thing. I was like, can't wait to tell Tom about all these people. Like, It's just so American. Just rugby with like Americans. Like, yeah, yeah, let's go. Like, uh, fucking. I try and think of like the things that they'd say, but like, wearing like headbands
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
I don't know the way they're walking around. Like, I was just like, they're just so American. I want to take photos of everyone
There's
and
there's
just
a
be like,
there's a cliche that Americans just they love falling into. There's set categories that Americans love falling into, and they do it unashamedly. They're like, yeah, my cousins are all like that. They're all from Florida. Went to Florida State, and they're all, they're like Caitlin cheerleaded, and the two boys played football, and TJ was like all state wrestler and stuff, and but they're good, lovely people, actually, really, really good people. Actually, do you know the kind of people you go, ah, you can't be real, are you? What? Are you that? They're good eggs, like a lot of them, but everything is, the worst thing they would say on the sideline was, "You guys suck." It's like, what? Don't ever say that again in my presence. Are you?
no,
No, no, that is not
no.
terrace talk. We will have none of that around here.
Yeah.
You guys
I
suck.
actually, I was wondering now when I have a little. Do you know pennies do like I don't know about in the men's section, but in the women's section they have like a really nice like NFL section.
No,
Like they've
I
got
won't.
really
Not many times I've been in pennies, to be honest with you. It gives me heart palpitations being in there. If they opened it at like 2 in the
okay, fine.
morning, it's just people. People are
Yeah, yeah.
fucking barbarians in there. They just, I
No, you
can't.
have to go first thing in the morning, or else yeah, you
Right.
just get
Yeah.
eaten
Okay.
by the yeah. But they have like they've got like oh, this really nice NFL like gear. But I bought a little like Miami Dolphins like kind of t-shirt thing. And I packed it and I brought it with me and I was wearing it around Tampa and like people were looking at me and I was like, fuck, like, is this I really shouldn't be wearing a
Are you
Miami
wearing the
Dolphins thing
Rangers? Are
around.
you wearing the Rangers top in a Celtic part of town? Like, is that what you're thinking?
It's like well, I was saying it's like wearing a Leinster jersey around Limerick,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like and I actually saw a dolphin while I was wearing it. And this guy that was passing, this guy who's from Nepal, and he was studying in thing. We were talking, and he was like, "Oh, I'm wearing a Dolphins t-shirt," and I was like, "Is this bad, by the way?" And he was like, "I don't know. I'm from Nepal."
You saw a
So
dolphin.
anyway,
Was the dolphin
um,
like, class?
he just popped up in front of me. It's so cool. You know, when you're just sitting there and a dolphin pops up in front of you, you see like its fin and everything. Anyway, what were we talking about? Um,
I think
oh yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, were people going to be like? Dolphins stuck when I was like walking around with my Dolphins t-shirt on. So I was like, keeping the head down and just like walking away. But in terms of the World Cup being there, it's just going to be so like that,
it'll be the
like
funniest.
American
It'll be so over the tops. They'll
vibe.
have jets flying over the
Yeah, it'll be
fucking
great
pitch.
crack.
It'll be. Do you know what?
Tailgating.
One thing they do is pomp and ceremony when it comes to sport. Like no, excuse me, like no other country on this earth. I went to a couple of Florida State games. Mother of God. And I made the mistake day one, landing in Fort Lauderdale, getting picked up by my cousin. And I was wearing, because I'd come from Boston, living in Boston, I was wearing, which isn't actually technically correct either with Boston, but I was wearing, uh, uh what's it called? Notre Dame top.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's kind of accepted in Boston because it's Irishy thing, but Notre Dame isn't in Boston, whatever state it's in. But I got a bit of
Hmm.
abuse for it there too. But my God, walking through the airport, like, because Gators are Miami University and Florida State is Florida State University. They're the Seminoles. They're Native American head. And the shit I was
Yeah.
just getting from people, but not. It would. I never felt once threatened, if you know what I mean. Like they were like,
Yeah.
"Ah, dude, you guys suck." I'm like, "What?" They're like, Notre Dame, or like sucks a dame. I'm like, what the fuck are some of these are the worst. You guys are
You just
losers. Hey Rudy, why don't you? And I'm like, none of you
I
people.
actually think I actually think the World Cup will be fun because of this.
I think it's going to be hilarious, hilarious
Yeah.
because even hearing American footballers how they talk about rugby, they get so pumped looking at it.
Hmm.
Like in no other they wouldn't happen in another country looking at American football. They go, I love the NFL. Yeah, it's class, cool. I love the way, and you know all the facts about it. But these American footballers are looking at it going, man, I get so pumped. These guys aren't wearing pads. They're fucking smashing each other. I just want to go out and fucking bite the side off a
Yeah,
door. And
yeah.
it's all over the top, shouty gorilla banging their chest shit. And you're like, what? It's hilarious. It's adorable in one way. You're like, ah, like because
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of these podcasts where there's I think the two brothers from the Kansas City Chiefs have a podcast, I think, and they were interviewing this guy who was an ex-rugby player and he was playing NFL and he was like, rugby NFL players, yeah, 100% they can play rugby. 100% they can play rugby. And they were like, do you think so? Yeah, 100% you can all play rugby. But I was kind of going, you're kissing their hole now because you know where your paycheck is coming from. Then the more could play fucking rugby in the man in the moon. Anybody over 250 pounds doesn't move more than 4 feet in the whole fucking game. And they're just strong as oxes holding other fellas 250 pounds plus. There's a few runny fellas and a throwy fella, and everybody else is just kind of tackly fellas. Send one of them into a fucking scrum and see how well he'll do. You'll get absolutely fucking annihilated. Do you know? Let's see how well he can ruck, maul. Might be the fittest fella on the planet, but like, you ain't licking rugby up off the fucking ground. That's for sure. Like, you
But
have to be able
you
to
know what?
defense and offense.
You know the
Unfortunately,
thing that really pissed me off with like watching all the young players, none of them can attack with the ball in two hands. So it's really easy for the defense. You know, I think we spoke about that before on how to rugby, but they all hold the ball like kind of lengthways along their forearm, like same as American football.
yeah,
None of them have the ability to attack with the ball in two hands because they come through American football.
yeah,
So
yeah,
and
yeah,
they don't have that switching the ball from one hand to the other ability. So that was really frustrating me watching all the young players like approaching contact with the ball in one end. I was like, oh, this is so
yeah. They
annoying
have
to watch. But
their
anyway.
stiff arm, as they call it. Like I just stiff armed. You know, you handed him
Mm.
off. You handed him off. That's you know. But sure, I mean, it just makes
But they can't do that because they can't switch the ball from one hand to the other. Like I couldn't see anyone doing handoffs. Like they can push, but like I literally was like dying for someone to put the ball on the other side away from the defender and actually hand them off. Like it
Oh,
was
so they
so
were
bad.
leading in sometimes with the fucking ball as well. Only asking for
Oh,
it to be
they had
ripped.
like no ability to switch the ball to the other arm. It's like stuck to their arm. It was
Yeah.
really annoying to watch. It was like, fuck's sake. Um, but anyway,
No, you weren't. You were like, you guys suck. Underneath.
but I stuck.
You guys are a bunch of
Yeah,
flappy arses and have no vacancies.
I
No
was like,
openings.
Flappy Arse suck. By the way, you're looking for a coach. Um, I actually stopped. Like my girls were brilliant. I had the under 16 elite girls. We lost in the final, which I take total responsibility for, but we'll talk about that another time. Um, they were brilliant. Like their skills, they were unbelievable rugby players. Like they were so good. And I stopped them a couple of times, like to watch some of the other teams like warming up and stuff. And I was like, girls, look at that now. Look at how poor their communication is, their passing, their skills. And like these are like senior men or like older boys. And I was like, do you realize how good you are, girls? And they were like, oh, like not really. And I was like, well, you are. Like, you know, there's none of this like, oh, that's the thing about rugby in the States. Like there isn't this like kind of hierarchy of like, oh, the boys know everything. Like there's kind of a blank canvas there in terms of like ability. Like the boys and the girls are very much more equal in ability than, or I suppose in playing years as well, rugby years, you know,
I
than
suppose
here.
it
Way
has
way
no
closer.
established long-term history there, much like even soccer. Soccer. Do you know where the women's football team is good? And Lord knows, I don't know
Yeah,
what's the deal with the men's soccer team. Like,
yeah,
but you know what I mean? There doesn't seem to
yeah.
be it, I think it's so new on the as you said, the blank. It's great
Exactly. Yeah,
it's a great opportunity if somebody was business minded to get in there. I know, was it one of the Leader brothers, Dara Leader, one of those? He was the big
yeah.
driver of the National Rugby League over there. Not rugby league, but the
Oh,
League of Rugby Union. I think he was. I
the
think
MLR.
the MLR. That's it. I think he was a big driver of creating it. I think, and
Yeah, could be actually. Yeah,
money got in behind. I think because he was he started kicking for some college because a couple of actually I did shout out. There's a chap from Down after actually getting signed, and he just broke a record. 64 meter. What do you call it? I suppose their version of a conversion. You know, it gets fucked.
Yeah.
The most convoluted way
You,
of getting a ball to a player. Fuck it out through me legs. Another fella catches it, and it sticks it on the ground.
completely.
And the,
It's
but
like,
six,
do you remember Ace Ventura?
yeah, laces out. Always laces out.
Laces out. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here,
That's what
listen.
I learned. That's why I bought that Miami Dolphins t-shirt, is because of Ace Ventura.
Purely because of Ace Ventura. So we play
Mm,
Wales. We have
one of my
Wales
favorite
next.
films.
It's been a lovely podcast. It's been nice. I needed that now. That was because I had that pent up fucking
We're
aggression
upset.
inside me as a result of it. But
Yeah. Um,
I think we're on an upward trajectory, whether scores show it or not. I do think an odd choices of selection,
yeah.
but um, at least
And like
the girls seem to show they didn't lie down and fucking take it. There was fight.
turban.
You know what I mean? Turban's
Yeah.
gone.
The turbans are falling off. The gloves are off. The turbans off.
Yeah.
The no, like, but that's the thing, and I've kind of been saying this as well, and like we have to take the progress. Like, even if it's not showing, at least it's happening. Like, at
Yeah.
least the games are happening. At least, you know, there's girls playing. Like, it's not gonna. It's gonna be a long road to results. Even though, like, saying that, considering how close we were at the weekend, it might be closer than we think, but it's a really long road to like getting back to where we used to be. But Munster playing this weekend.
Yes, they're back in the Champions Cup this weekend. I think did they
Champions
have
Cup weekend and
Northampton?
La Rochelle.
They played like a
Yeah.
bag of fucking fish the other night. I don't know, they purely,
Yes.
if anybody just wants to watch, much like Katie Corrigan's Instep try, but if anybody wants to watch a young out half, sick to his bollocks from fucking drop balls and fuck acting and catch an entire fucking game by the scruff of the neck, watch for Jack Crowley's try, where Munster were shit. Incredibly, they won. They should have won it by fucking 20, 30 points, but they were fuck acting around. What they looked like was
Who
a
was
lot.
it? Scarlet for someone.
They were
Ospreys.
playing Cardiff, and Cardiff had some good players out, and Cardiff played well, but they shouldn't have been anywhere near them. Like, Munster were just they were sixes and sevens because they looked like a team that haven't played together in a long time, which they haven't. And all the Irish players have been on the piss for a fucking week, dancing on the worktop in Peter O'Mahony's house and digging up his fucking lawn. So they looked all over the map. But it looked very fixable, if you know what I mean, like, because they will be some fucking fire and brimstone. But there was a moment when Jack Crowley, now to be also shout out to Peter O'Mahony, who gave like something out of 1992, a dive pass that you do not see enough of these
Oh,
days.
I saw.
He gave a fucking dive pass that was great. It actually created a millisecond longer for Jack Crowley because it got to him so fucking fast. And Crowley, he stepped around 5 people in 5 meters and just forced his way over the fucking line. And not even a smile when he got up. He just went, for fuck's sake, give me the fucking tea.
Fuck this shit. Yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
this shit. Fuck enough of this now. And it was very, very warming but infuriating to watch at the time. I was running in and out. It was actually one of the acts was on stage. I was catching bits and pieces. I was running out and watching, going, the fuck, we're 34 minutes in. Nobody scored anything yet. What the fuck is going on?
Jesus. Puke.
But yeah, puke stuff. Because again, handling errors and getting the ball ripped and stuff, and just
I can't wait for Champions Cup this weekend.
Yes.
But I'm so annoyed at the tournament itself for all of the fucking, almost all of the round of 16 being the same game as one of the pool games. Like,
yeah, very.
Anyway,
It's mid.
Poor La Rochelle going back down to South Africa. Like, I honestly couldn't think of anything worse. Like, leave me alone. By the way, the Perpignan trip, like, took me about a fucking week to recover from coming back from Perpignan. Do you know where we're going this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Toulon.
Stop. Nearly twice as far. More.
Even
That's further
further.
again. Yeah.
About 3 or 4 hours further. I won't be back till next fucking Wednesday, I'd say.
Your game is just subsequent to a long drive. It's like me doing comedy. I'll drive to Derry and do a half an hour and then drive back again. Oh, do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna leave you voicemails, mad voicemails on fucking WhatsApp, and put people on the phone because like what you did to me on my last long trip, you left voice.
Oh yeah,
You're gonna leave voice
yeah,
notes just going, and this fella wants to talk to you,
yeah. Throw people on to me.
yeah,
Yes, and listeners, send me interesting facts or questions. But actually, the La Rochelle girls played at the weekend. They played in the stadium, which was really nice, and the second team played in the Espoir, the academy team played, and they had a great weekend. The girls, like my team, the first team, they won like 84-0 or some crazy
who
shit
the
like
fuck were they
that.
playing?
Breathe.
Jesus, still, I'm reverend
I know. I know. So who knows? But we do have another game in the stadium in 2 weekends' time, I think.
class. So you're
So if
actually
anyone's in
playing.
La Rochelle, let me know.
I've been doing nothing but singing the praises of the place. We really, I showed it to Natasha and I showed it to Fionn, and Fionn was his first thing was, "Is there any Loch Ness monsters in that sea?" I went, "There might be." He went, "All right, I'm sold." He just all he wants is
Where? What? La
monsters.
Rochelle with the tower?
I didn't even show him the tower, just showed him the port. He went, "Is there any Loch
Of
Ness
course,
monsters
yeah.
in that?" I went, "Yeah, most likely." Class, it's fine by me. It's fine. Do they have chips? I went, they'll have something. So everybody's on board.
Question. You know, when they sell the burgers at the stadium, like when you go to the top 14 games, they give you one black bun and one yellow bun when you get a burger.
Class. Kilkenny
It's
needs
all
to start
about
doing
branding.
that. Kilkenny needs to start doing that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know if I'd eat a red and white burger though. I don't think it. Yeah,
It's just a bit of food coloring.
I guess so. Yeah. What am I saying? I'd eat that fucking mouse that off my
Stadium
computer.
burger.
Whatever. Yeah.
Mm.
Jesus Christ. Right.
I'm mad for some Irish team to come back to La Rochelle. I don't know if La Rochelle are due any more kind of home European Cup games. I'm mad for some Irish team. It's been too long. It's been too long now since there was any Irish people around
Do you know
town.
what? To be fair, the Americans will wash it out of you, all right. In all fairness, like any dose of America at all, and you're like, oh Jesus Christ, I just want some crisps and sausages and stuff.
Mm,
This is you're lovely lads, but
no.
fucking hell, you're a world away from reality. Like,
Yeah. If this is now the part of the season when everyone starts talking about, oh, are you staying next season? Are you going? What are you doing? I have no idea. I don't know what's happening. But
I didn't want to
if
ask.
Munster get drawn, if Munster get drawn in La Rochelle's pool, I'll stay. Just for that one weekend, I'll stay another year.
There you go. You heard it here first. Can we organise that, please, Munster branch? In all fairness, yeah, and nah, you could be in worse fucking places. You could be in Breve.
Mm, Jesus. Of course. Um,
Right.
gosh.
Let's
Right, anyway,
stick a
Shinny and
cap in
Crack.
it. Shine, mind the rocks, and I'm
Mind
going
your
to
up.
go jump in underneath my woolen blanket. Mind the flappy arse. I'll let you know if any openings pop up.
Mind the rocks.
I'll put your egg on ice just to make sure it doesn't get eaten here some
Okay.
evening. I'm editing a podcast. Mind the rocks.
Well,
It's
look.
the Banana and